just going to give you a few. Gravity. If the gravitational force were changed by, now I'm going to say a lot of zeros, so just bear with me. 0.00000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000We couldn't exist. Now, in case you zoned out a little bit in there, that's 37 zeros after decimal point, only after that followed by a 1. Now, to get your mind around that incredibly small number, imagine this. Take a tape measure and stretch it across the entire known universe. And then take just a 1-inch mark on that tape measure. And that's where our gravity is. That's how small it is. Now, I know gravity is measured in inches. It's just to get your mind around this mathematically minuscule value. Now, if you take our gravity and you take it in 1 inch in either direction, our life is impossible. Now, again, this is stretched across the entire universe, and just 1 inch in either direction, and life is impossible. That is incredible. Or take the expansion rate of the universe. If the universe expanded just 1 millionth slower, it would have collapsed back on itself. If it had expanded any faster, no galaxies, stars, or planets could have formed. So any slower, we can't exist. Any faster, we can't exist. That's fine-tuned to one place in 100 sextillion. I had to look up that number because I did not know what this number was, followed by all those zeros. So 1 chance in 100 sextillion. To wrap your mind around what that number is, imagine this, as Lee Strobel explained. That's like traveling hundreds of miles in space and throwing a dart at the Earth and hitting a bullseye measuring a trillionth of an inch in diameter, an area less than the width of a single atom. That is incredible. Now let's just take the likelihood of just those two constants together, the gravitational force and the expansion rate of the universe. Lee Strobel explained, their level of fine-tuning is to a precision of 1 part in 100 million, trillion, a number 74 digits long. I mean, that's like 1 atom in the entire known universe. So imagine this. I pick out 1 atom out of the universe, and I paint it black. I throw it back in there and mix up all the atoms. Then I put a blindfold on you. You can't see. I push you into the universe and say, okay, pick up 1 atom. What's the probability that you're going to pick up the 1 atom that I painted black? That's the probability of just having these two constants. Now, there aren't just 2 finely tuned constants. As Dr. Frank Turek and Dr. Norman Geisler explained, it's not that there are just a few broadly defined constants that may have resulted by chance. No, there are more than 100 very narrowly defined constants that strongly point to an intelligent designer. There actually have been 122 constants identified, equally impressive in their fine-tuning. Now, we just saw 2, and we saw the probability of those 2. And there are 120 more that are identified. Here are just a few that I'm going to list out for you. The electromagnetic force constant, the strong and weak nuclear force constants, the right amount of water in the Earth's crust, the perfect angular tilt of the Earth, the right planetary mass, the planet Jupiter. That's an interesting story right there if you guys want to ask in the Q&A session. The right concentration of sulfur, the balance between the centrifugal force and the gravitational force, the velocity of light, the perfect rotation time of the Earth, and the right amount of seismic activity. Now, notice that's just 6, another 6. That's just 12 more. So we've just investigated 14 of the 122. Now, astrophysicist Hugh Ross has calculated the probability of these constants existing for any planet, not just our planet, any planet, to be 1 part in 10 followed by 138 zeros. That's 1 in this incredible 4-line number. Now, as Dr. Frank Turek and Norman Geisler explained, there are only 10 to the 70th power atoms in the entire universe. In effect, there is zero chance that any planet in the universe would have the life-supporting conditions we have, unless there's an intelligent designer behind it all. So I want you to understand really just the gravity of this reality. So let's imagine there's a competition going on. If you flip a coin 100 times and get 100 heads in a row, you're going to win a country. You're going to be given a country, the power, the land, everything. Worth a try, right? What could you lose? Well, what's the probability that you're going to do this? The probability is that you have one chance in about 1 nonillion. Again, I had to look up this number because I couldn't read all those zeros to understand what that was. So one chance in 1 nonillion. Now, what are your chances? Because for us, that's just a big number that we don't comprehend. Well, let me just tell you, you don't have a chance of getting it. Not if you're flipping nonstop for 100 years, for a million years, or even 1 trillion years. That's how small the chance is. So you can be flipping again and again and again, trying to get 100 heads in a row for even 1 trillion years, and you don't have a chance. You don't have the probabilistic resources. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough number of trials. Knowing those odds, let's imagine that your neighbor comes over and claims he's done it. Now, since we know how improbable it is, what do we say? Good job, congratulations. Or would we begin to get suspicious? Or let me tell you another way. Let's imagine that someone gives you a coin and says, here you go, try it. We flip the coin. Heads. A second time. Heads. A third time. Heads. A fourth time. Heads. And so on and so on. Now, maybe we'll believe it maybe 10 times through, but if it keeps happening again and again and again, are we going to think we're getting lucky? Or are we going to think that the person gave us a rigged coin? That they are hoping that we win this country? We're going to obviously assume that we got a rigged coin. We know that the more and more it happens, the less believable it is. Now, we know that something more than chance seems afoot. Did they cheat to get this unimaginably improbable sequence? Now, this was just to get 100 heads in a row. And we saw that just to do that, if anyone claimed to do it, it would be unbelievable. We know that stuff like that just doesn't happen. Now, this number, about 1 nonillion, isn't a drop in the bucket of the number 10 to the 138th power. Just look at this. The first number doesn't even take up a whole line. 10 to the 138th power takes up 4 lines. And we've gotten this. Something more must be afoot. Did someone cheat the system to defy those odds? And I'm not the only one pointing to this as evidence for a designer. Astronomer Fred Hoyle said, a common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super intellect has monkeyed with physics and that there are no blind forces worth speaking about in nature. The numbers one calculates from the facts seem to me so overwhelming as to put this conclusion almost beyond question. Or even the late Stephen Hawking said, the remarkable fact is that the values of these numbers seem to have been very finely adjusted to make possible the development of life. So the fine-tuning really isn't debated. No matter what field or view scientists hold, they admit the fine-tuning. Where they all diverge is the explanation of the fine-tuning. And this is something you'll learn in many of these arguments, that the facts are the facts. Many people agree upon the facts, but it's the explanations of those facts that make us all diverge.